Today we continue our discussion with Dr. Paddy Njoku on education and competitiveness in Africa. Dr. Njoku is a writer, public affairs analyst, and chairman of the National Examination Council, NECO, in Nigeria. Please join us in our discussion. Since the return to civilian rule in 1999, have we started to see a revival in our educational standards and educational system? Is there something that you can point to as being a good sign of improvements in our educational standards?
Yes. Yes. I can tell you that in NECO, for example,
yes,
and also in WAEC, last year, 2013, we recorded tremendous improvement in the performance of our candidates.
Okay.
And this is as a result of the fact that President Jonathan, for example, has insisted that he must participate in the National Educational Council and rub minds with all educational stakeholders, ask what went wrong and how we can right the wrongs. So we in NECO, and of course our colleagues in WAEC and also NAPTEP, we've gone to work, and we have applied most of the decisions that were taken by the National Educational Council. I can tell you that the statistics are changing.
Okay.
We have risen from 15% credit in 5 subjects, including English and mathematics, in 2011 to about 70% last year.
Wait a minute. From 15
to 69.9. Last year.
That dramatic?
Yeah, that's dramatic.
We need to find what happened. What caused
it graduated from that to about 50-something in 2012, and now nearly 70. And we want to see whether we can sustain and improve.
And that statistic is correct?
Yeah, it's correct. I can say to a large extent, it is a great improvement. But get this. There is a great problem in the funding of education, whereby proprietors of educational institutions, public and private, concentrate more on the hardware,
than on the software.
Yeah. Whereas education actually is mainly a software thing. You cannot.
What is the reason for that? Is it for personal gain so that we would do contracts?
Yeah. I would say yes, because they want to put an imposing building. I mean, you go, you want to build a university tomorrow. What you will be showing us on television is the imposing building of your university. You don't want to show us the research laboratories. You don't want to show us the speed at which your people are being trained to acquire more knowledge to train the children. Absolutely. And this is everywhere. So it's affecting education drastically. Okay. Then there is also the incessant strikes. I've always said that teachers are the intellectual parents of students. And parents never go on strike. They don't go on holidays. Even when their children become adults, they continue parenting. And a situation where people make recourse, very easy recourse to strikes, is very dangerous, because strikes in the educational sector is like making...
What are their options when they want to put food on the table?
It's like making recourse to nuclear weapons in a civil war.
Yeah, I understand. But what are their options when they want to put food on the table, but they can't?
No, their options.
Yes.
It's not just their option. It's both the option of their employers and the employees themselves. It's dialogue.
Okay.
Because you see this, your round table.
Yes.
That's in mediation. We say this is the most potent instrument of war. It's only around the round table that you settle wars, not through the barrel of the gun.
It's good that we have a president that has a PhD for the first time in Nigeria, and a president that, as you said, is committed to education, has personally been very involved in checking standards and all of that.
Yes.
Can President Jonathan build his transformation program on a platform that doesn't have strong, good, credible educational pillars? That's basically what I mean by that is, can we succeed with the transformation program of President Jonathan if the educational system is not rapidly revamped? Not just the transformation program of Jonathan. No transformation anywhere in the world can succeed without being based on sound educational building and transformation. Because all these other transformations you talk about are transformation of the container. The educational transformation is the transformation of the content. Yes.
And veritable transformation is a transformation of the content, not of the container.
Absolutely.
So I agree with you, rather, that we cannot have a credible, veritable, effective, and working transformation unless that transformation is brought to the nuclear part of the human being, which is the education.
Yes.
It is your education that has brought you here today, not how many suits your parents bought for you when you were young. So, because they gave you good education, you are now able to change suits. And so, the president has started a transformation agenda in various sectors. I would use this podium to call on higher concentration on educational transformation. Yeah. He has started. And I tell you, that is why we were able to record better results.
But when you look at spending on education as a share of the budget, Nigeria still lags way behind other African countries. Mm-hmm. I mean, countries like Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, I'm talking countries in West Africa here, where our people are going on educational tourism, are spending close to 30% of their budget on education.
Yes.
Nigeria is, from my last check, is still under 10%.
Yes.
Now, I'm not sure how that shows that we're putting a lot of emphasis into education.
This is a collectively shared blame.
Yes.
In the first place. There has been this saying that UNESCO says 26%.
Yes. That's what UNESCO says. Yes.
That UNESCO says 26%.
Yes.
Some people have said, no, they've not seen it written anywhere, but then it has now come to be accepted as a norm. Yeah? But my worry about the spending, because you said educational spending, is even the 10% you are talking about.
Yes.
Is it really spent, on education, or is it spent, or is it frittered away?
Yeah.
Are you getting my point?
It's a good question.
Yes, because it's not just enough.
And I'm happy that you're asking the question too.
Yeah, it's not just enough saying, okay, we give 26%. We must make sure that even the 1% we give,
we get the result of 1%.
We get the result of 1%.
Yes.
So I'm not for increasing for increase sake.
Yes.
I am for effective expenditure of what has been budgeted and released. And in every sector, we have this problem.
Do we have
every
a
sector,
way of checking
not just
that? Say for education, since this is extremely important.
Yes.
Do we have a way of checking to see whether we are getting, and this, I'm not just talking about federal.
Yeah.
Often when
that's what I'm saying. I said that at all levels.
Yes, it's not just about federal, across the board.
Yes.
Is there a mechanism for checking to see whether we're getting the results that we want.
That mechanism should be national. I'm not going to say, okay, we are going to put just in the education sector away. It's like the transformation you're talking about.
Yes.
The individual Nigerian who is a stakeholder in public affairs should be made to be accountable for every kobo that is appropriated by the National Assembly for them. Yes. Unfortunately, we have situations today where these things, we budget 4-point-something trillion, and at the end of the year, you and I feel that we don't feel the impact of the trillions.
Yes.
So much as the education sector is underfunded, I am insisting that whatever has been put in that sector, just like in other sectors, at the federal level, at the state level, at the local government level, should be seen to have been expended. So if we say we are funding at 10%, let the 10% be 10%. If we are not accounting for the 10% properly, then it doesn't make meaning increasing it.
Who's supposed to check this?
The government and its machineries.
Maybe isn't that what the national,
and the people of Nigeria?
Isn't that what the National Assembly is for at the federal level, and state assemblies are for? And that's why they have the various committees that are supposed to be doing oversight.
That's why I'm saying I'm talking of government. Government is not President Jonathan.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
There is oversight responsibility of the legislatures.
Yes.
They must ensure that the money they appropriate has been properly.
Yes.
And I think that's why the lexicon chooses the word appropriate.
Yes.
You must make sure that it is also appropriately spent.
We need to find a way for the government to do this, because I can't think of anyone else that would do it. Where if we're talking about a transformation program, we're looking to transform attitudes and the nature of individuals, how we do things. I was mentioning earlier that if I have my iPad and I just change the cover of it, or I paint it, or whatever it is that I do to it superficially, I have not transformed it. I've just changed the cover. But if somehow now I can press something on my iPad and it opens my door in the house and it turns on the TV from my office, then I'm transforming the iPad. Maybe I'll call you back and we'll spend some time on this particular issue.
I would like to come back on this because incidentally, I am the chairman of the Fellowship of Partners for the Protection of Ethics and Values in the country. And we thought we could have, let me do some autocriticism. We thought that we could have moved far along this line by now, trying to transform people at all levels in terms of values.
Yes.
Even going back to the villages, as you said. Okay? I tell you something. In the system in which I grew up, a true man of value, worth his salt, had about 3 shirts or 4 shirts. In fact, there's a man in my village who used to hang his shirt here and go bare body from here to Babulada. He put the shirt for you to know that he has a shirt. But he is contented going that way. Yes. That man of value would have 3 goats, 5 chicken, and a few yams in his barn. But he will sit there in his compound, full of himself morally. If you came with a white horse bicycle, because that was the highest thing those days, he would be looking at you with suspicion, because the idea is that if I've been here over these years and this is how come this young man comes with then immediately you greet and say, who are you? You are whose son? Where do you work? Because he wants to know how you came by this bicycle, whether you earned it honestly. So this transformation you're talking about should actually go to all the levels, all the strata of society. It is absolutely necessary. And if we don't do it, and do it fully, every other thing we're doing, all the transformation you're talking about, are, as I said, the transformation of the container and not the content. And if you transform the container and the content is eruptive and volcanic, one day it may burst. Okay? If you change the bottle of a beer and put beer that is very effervescent inside that bottle, it can burst the bottle. And unless we transform the content of our characters, the content of our morals, the content of our values, you may have what I call manimals. And a manimal, I invented that expression, a manimal, and I've told Wikipedia to register it, is a man who is using his human intellect to combine with his animal instincts to start living a life that is more dangerous to society than the life of wild animals or the life of human beings.
Smart animal.
It is extremely smart because he has human intellect.
Human brains, yes.
He has human brains,
yes,
and animal instinct.
Animal
so
strength.
you know, when I demonstrate this in my leadership lectures, you'll see we have executive manimals who wear suits like you, but their head, they have a lion's head and a lion's brain. And these are the type of guys who, if they hear that this is pension money, they grab it, build estates here, transfer some abroad, hide 2 or 3 billion in deep freezers in their homes. No animal will do that. No animal will be so selfish as to do that. Lions don't keep food. They don't. No normal human being would do that. It's only a manimal
that will do that.
That will do that. So I agree with you.
Yes.
Moral transformation, values transformation, ethics transformation, we must apply in this country if we want to make good use of our natural resources.
Now, your contribution has been extraordinary, and it's been wonderful having you. But I want you to, if you have any general thoughts that you can give in light of the fact that education is so central to our transformation program, as we have clearly stated, and also because we need skill sets to be developed from our universities, from our polytechnics, from on-the-job training, from all these different arenas. We need skill sets to drive the economy so that we can get the kind of inclusive growth that we want. So what general thoughts do you have for our viewers, to speak to the issue of how education is primary and fundamental for strong, inclusive economic growth in Nigeria?
First of all, Wendell Willkie said, education is the mother of leadership. Education is the mother of leadership. It is the mother of development. There's no way you can develop a polity as big as Nigeria without having people who are properly educated to do so. Secondly, the economy is not run by the technology, and in an economy is not run by the PhD holders. We as leaders in the country must be thinking of forming people at all levels in all sectors. And especially the people who will drive this great machinery that we call development and technology. So we must get back to reopening our trade centers, trade schools that teach skills.
On that note, Dr. Njaku, I want to thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Thanks for having me.